Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. We're going to quickly jump into CoinGecko here. We're currently sitting at a $2.11 trillion market cap. Looking at the top 10 here, Bitcoin sitting at 44,972, Ethereum sitting at 3,161, Tether, Binance Coin sitting at 424, XRP sitting at 85 cents, Cardano sitting at $1.18, Solana sitting at $1.09, Dot sitting at $21, and then Avalanche just flipped Terra sitting at $91. And as you can see, we got, some red within the 24-hour period here. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. So we were up higher yesterday in the neutral range. I think we hit as high as it says 54. I thought we were a little higher than that, but we're sitting at the 50 now, so we're still in that neutral range. We're not in the extreme fear range, but as you can tell, there's still a little bit of uncertainty within the market, and we could talk about that in our next video that I'm going to cover as in regard of the entire market in general. I wanted to start here with JV's tweet here, and he's covering the library token, and he says, "Wow, library has been fighting the SEC for 3 years now." So obviously, if you guys been in the space long enough to know kind of the comparisons between what's going on with the Ripple versus SC case and then what happened with Library. Library actually had an ICO where they raised money. As we know, Ripple or there was no ICO when it comes to Ripple and XRP, but he just brought this up to kind of bring it into context because we're talking about security versus non-security, decentralization actually having a use case and utility. Library actually has a massive use case and utility. So we're going to take a listen in and see what this video has to say.
Token, I tell them, listen, we have laws regarding the sale of investment instruments.
Preston Byrne is a lawyer who deals with crypto law.
It's usually pretty clear as a lawyer by the end of the initial phone call. I know whether something is going to be kosher or not, and 9 times out of 10, it's not.
The lawyers will say either it can't be done or it can be done and it's going to cost millions of dollars.
Library says that they've spent 3 years, over $1 million, and thousands of hours of team members' time on this case so far.
It just wipes out a whole bunch of small startups.
I hope it won't wipe out Library. I use Library. Maybe you're even watching this video on Odyssey.com, a YouTube alternative built on the Library platform. The token in question is Library's LBC token, which stands for Library Credits. To explain how Library's LBC token works, well, basically you pay LBC to post a video, people can tip you in LBC, you can lend LBC to other videos to give them more visibility, and you get rewards in LBC watching content. It's the backbone of the whole Library protocol, and without it, people couldn't use the network. Despite their practical use, the SEC claims that Library credits are stock-like securities that people buy to make a profit rather than for use. Hey, SEC, I'm using LBC right now to tip content creators on the platform.
So obviously there's a lot of utility and use case when it comes to utilizing their token, Library's token within their ecosystem. So she was also comparing it to how are you comparing this to people who invest in Pokemon cards or other things that they anticipate are going to increase in value, where there's actually a use case and a massive utility behind this so-called Library token that they have. JV came down here and he was saying, Library had an ICO, so Ripple's case will probably end before it. So who knows how long the Ripple versus SEC case is actually going to be. As we can see, there's been a lot of further suppression. Obviously, there's them trying to cover up certain documents and certain information. They don't want to shed light on that information, or they don't want that stuff to surface. And there's been a bunch of delays and ongoing delays currently that we've been dealing with as a community when it comes to the Ripple versus SC case. So who knows? The beauty of it is yes, there was no ICO when it comes to Ripple and XRP, but it was kind of good that kind of cool that he had put this video out and tweeted this, because it does give some reference and context of what's going on. And the big part about it is we're talking about the SEC kind of overstepping and overregulating, trying to dominate the space. They were talking about it costs millions of dollars to actually go to war with the SEC when it comes to legal deliberation and litigation. So when you have these small startups that are trying to build these crypto companies and these projects, it's like they're not going to have the money, and if they do have the little bit of money to fight, they're going to be wiped out. And that's problematic for the space. That stifles the innovation and it hinders the growth within our space, which is absolutely a terrible thing to kind of deal with. So I wanted to start with that. Coming over here, Santiago said he's actually referencing and responding to this tweet from Pompous Maxi, where he says, imagine getting a free pass only to turn around and reissue a securities offering because your initial product was not scalable. So hint, Ethereum. Do they work behind the scenes to get ETH Free Pass 2.0 or try to keep the first one alive? So if you can go in and check out this tweet thread, there was a bunch of different pretty insightful responses to that. But Santiago says, this is my interpretation as well. Although I'm not a lawyer, ETH 2.0 reinforces the concept of common enterprise in terms of locking ETH for non-operational validators in exchange for a future expectation of profit, rewards. Can't wait to see the legal contortions around this. So, I mean, it's quite evident there's just so much shady stuff happening. And then, you're talking out of one side of your mouth saying, hey, these are securities. This is what entails what a security is. And here's what you can and can't do. But then at the other side of your mouth, there's, uncertainty, unclear rules, Ethereum free pass, closing it, slamming the door on everybody else, picking favorites, and just a bunch of other stuff, conflicts of interest. And this is the crazy stuff we're dealing with. So now they have like Ethereum 2.0 coming out with, hey, so before I continue on, I invest in Ethereum. I value Ethereum. I'm not, throwing shade in it. I'm just kind of trying to paint the picture of kind of that they're trying to bring up here. The whole point is just like Ripple got the short end of the stick when it comes to this regulation by enforcement stuff. And in turn, XRP investors and, small investors around the world have been affected by it. So this is absolutely sickening that this is kind of what we're dealing with. And we've seen the video footage of, Chairman Gensler, Jake Clayton, Bill Hinman, and all the other, Ethereum maxis out there, and Consensus, and Joseph Lubin, and all the shenanigans and foolery that we're dealing with. It's quite evident that all this is in a sense, it's favoritism. And they're trying to pick winners or losers within the space, and it's not a level playing field. And just simply put, we're going to move on. Right here. This is from Finance Feeds. It says, Ripple stands to win battle over fair notice amid SEC's backfire. The enforcement action cited in the report did not actually support the SEC's argument in the first place, Ripple argued. So just quickly reading through this real quick. It says, Ripple has filed the SIR reply regarding the SEC's motion to strike the fair notice affirmation defense to oppose. Quote, the SEC's inappropriate request for judicial notice and to address the SEC's misleading characterization of prior enforcement actions. The SEC has previously asserted that Ripple's fair notice offense fails because prior to suing Ripple, the SEC had already brought more than 70 cases that subjected other digital assets to the application of the federal securities law. The agency also cited on May 2021, reported by Cornerstone Research, distributed after Ripple filed its opposition brief and requested the court to take judicial notice of the SEC complaints, which the report characterizes as cryptocurrency enforcement actions. So, I mean, for us that's been around kind of following the case and stuff, we kind of know all this stuff. It's kind of really interesting. There's no case that's like this Ripple versus SEC case. There's nothing like it. So for them to try to compare the Cornerstone research behind it, we all know it's just blowing smoke, and them just trying to almost in a sense, reach for help and just pull anything out of their butt that they can. So just to end it down here, it says the enforcement actions cited in the report don't actually support the SEC's argument in the first place. The Ripple Council argued, adding, not one of those cases alleged a violation of Section 5's registration requirements for a sale of digital assets outside the context of an ICO. So boom, right there. Not one of those cases alleged a violation of Section 5's registration requirements for a sale of digital assets outside the context of an ICO. So it's merely interesting. And just to put it in simple terms, how can Ripple and their team meet with the SEC, for years now, trying to have that open dialogue? They're very transparent about what's going on, and they're a private company, but they're super transparent about everything, their earnings and what's going on, what they're doing, how many XRP they have in their reserves, and how they're utilizing it, how they billing out, their company and their infrastructure. All that stuff is out there. It's no secret. And then they're meeting with you to try to get on terms with you, to try to see what they can and can't do, how can they properly proceed forward, and how can they get the regulatory clarity that they need to further scale, their operation. But then you throw a lawsuit on them and claim that they have fair notice. I mean, we're not idiots out here. It's quite evident that that's not the case. So I want to thank Finance Feed for kind of putting up this article. I highly recommend you kind of go through and read some of this stuff. Continuing on here, XRP Tokens, Da said, looks like someone else wanted to blow the whistle on the SEC. So he had put up this image here, and it says, let me see if I can zoom in here. Yeah. So it says the aim of the Wall Street establishment is to undermine SEC investigations against themselves from within the SEC itself in order to protect their privilege to defraud vulnerable Main Street investors in large M&A transactions. Given that I have reasonable grounds to suspect that the SEC is operating in a corrupt manner under the current administration, as further described below, I hereby officially put the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, the committee, on notice by blowing the whistle on the SEC Chairman Clayton and the wider Wall Street establishment. So, man, this is going to be quite interesting. As you can see, as time goes on, things begin to surface, more and more things. It's like the dominoes have already started to fall. So it's like as time goes on and things progress, a lot more shady stuff is being surfaced. And then this whole scandal and Ethereum free pass and all the players involved, all of it is slowly starting to surface and to become exposed. The beauty of it is as XRP and Ripple investors, we're just sitting back laughing, kind of doing our research, doing the, fighting the good fight, doing what we have to do to get the truth out there because we have the truth on our side. Those involved in the shadiness, the scandal, the picking winners and losers, and the Ethereum free pass, all those parties involved, they don't have the truth on their side. We are on the right side of the law, the right side of history with the truth on our side. So we're really not sweating. They got to be sweating bullets because it's happening. All their shady stuff is being surfaced. And I want to thank, DAWs, XRP tokens, and all parties, John Deaton, Tag XRP, Empower Oversight, Jeremy Hogan, John Dean, Eleanor Terr, Charles Gasparino. Everybody, digital asset investor, anybody that's been contributing to research, putting out information, trying to educate and support the community, hands down, absolute respect for you guys, and I appreciate that all this information out there because we got to continue to bring the fight to the SEC. 2022 is about crypto coming after the SEC versus 2021 was the SEC was coming after crypto. Times have changed. We're standing up, standing our ground for what's right, fighting the good fight. We're coming, SEC. Going to finish on these last two here. It says XRP investors FOMO amid developments in the SEC versus Ripple case. So just the highlights here. It says XRP price has rallied more than 50% since February 3rd, obviously, which has been massive for us. This is huge. Extremely bullish close on the daily chart converted XRP into a bull market. Ripple's attorneys indicate soon to be released unsealed documents prove Ripple was advised XRP is not a security. So we already talked about how with Empower Oversight, Johnny Deaton going over the Freedom of Information Act, and there's already been over 1,000 documents that so-called have been surfaced, and there's so much more that's already surfacing. So there's a lot more that could be, that can help strengthen Ripple's case versus the SEC, which is going to be massive for Ripple, which in turn, XRP is going to benefit from that, and XRP investors will benefit from that. It says XRP price action has been some of the best performing price action in the entire crypto space. This recent bullish drive has given XRP bulls a reprieve of sorts of XRP has outperformed Bitcoin and Ethereum, something it has struggled to do for nearly 2 years. We as XRP investors, we've been through the ringer. I've been accumulating and collecting since 2017, haven't sold my bag, and we've been through all the ups and downs, turmoils, positive, negative. Everything you can think of. Emotionally, we have just been decimated. And for those of us that held strong, continue to support, continue to fight the good fight, hats off to you. Our time is just a matter of when. It's not if, it's a when. We're almost there. And I'm going to end on this. I thought this was quite cool. It says, this is from a tweet from Ripple. It says, from NFTs and CBDCs to crypto liquidity payments and compliance, our newest report provides a fresh perspective on the global use, benefits, perception of crypto solutions. And you can click this and kind of read more on kind of what they're talking about. But just to continue on this thread, it says, blockchain and digital assets are changing the value the way the internet changed information, by creating a vast decentralized network that is driving new efficiencies, capabilities, and even new industries. As a blockchain and cryptocurrencies mature, an increasing amount of businesses are leveraging them in various ways, and more consumers both understand and own digital assets. With increased consumer adoption comes high expectations within institutions, businesses, and governments for wide-scale adoption of the blockchain, crypto, and CBDCs. So this is absolutely massive, and this goes beyond just Ripple and XRP. They're talking about the entire space, just like we talked about in a lot of our videos. The writing is on the wall. People are truly seeing what our future has in store for us, and digital assets, cryptocurrencies, in all forms and all the sectors that crypto has to offer, has a massive impact and influence on our day-to-day lives, from payments, from NFTs, from store values, from crypto gaming, from, DAOs to, DeFi. There's so much metaverse. There's so much that this space has to offer, and it's changing lives as we speak. The dominoes have already started falling, and it's only going to pick up speed. It's only going to pick up momentum, and it's going to create and migrate and generate so much wealth and prosperity and growth and innovation within our space. Look where we're at, 2.1 trillion. We are so early. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.